So Vincent Smith has now become the first high-profile politician to be prosecuted, convicted and sentenced on state capture-related charges. This is 4 years after former Chief Justice Raymond Zondo handed in his final report to President Cyril Ramaphosa in 2022. It is also a rare victory for the National Prosecuting Authority, which has been accused of dragging its feet on state capture-related cases. Smith's conviction marks a serious milestone, proving that working meticulously to build solid cases is better than rushing to take half-baked cases to court and, as a result, letting guilty parties walk free. At the same time, though, if the NPA is going to take 4 years per conviction, there's very little hope that the rest of those who were implicated in corruption will ever face justice. I argue in this episode that this is not an acceptable outcome. Not when you consider what state capture has cost the country. Someone needs to find ways to speed up the process, because any further delays only serve to increase society's skepticism about commissions of inquiry. Hello everyone, welcome back to Joe Talks Politics. I am your host, Joseph Musia. Let's get right into this. Smith's conviction and sentencing may have passed quickly in South Africa's fast-paced news cycle. Until last week, no senior political figure had ever been convicted. Smith was not just a politician. He also chaired the Portfolio Committee on Correctional Services. This is the parliamentary body charged with oversight of the department and ensuring good governance on behalf of the public. His responsibilities included holding the department accountable by examining how public funds were spent and investigating irregular contracts or corruption. Instead, he received over 800,000 rands in payments from the same company. And he never declared any of these payments in Parliament, and instead of aggressively scrutinizing Bosasa contracts, he is said to have shielded the company from parliamentary scrutiny. His conviction and sentencing for essentially betraying the public trust are a welcome development indeed. Well done, NPA. But as I indicated earlier, one conviction after 4 years represents an important milestone, but it is a drop in the ocean of names that the Commission said should be further investigated or prosecuted. A few names come to mind in this regard. The first is Gwede Mantashe, the ANC's all-powerful Secretary General at the height of state capture and Jacob Zuma's reign. Mantashe is known to have stood firmly behind Zuma throughout his presidency. He often shielded Zuma from serious political consequences inside the ANC. He supported him after the Nkandla scandal, after the controversial dismissal of Finance Minister Nhlanhla Nene in 2015, and following revelations about the Gupta family's influence in government. It was during this time that Mantashe received a security upgrade at his private home that was installed and paid for by Bosasa. This is said to have included CCTV cameras and related equipment valued at about 70,000 rand. The benefit came from a company that held lucrative government contracts. Even though Mantashe told the Zondo Commission that he was unaware that Bosasa had funded the installation, the mere acceptance of such a benefit from anyone was inappropriate because, as one of the most senior leaders of the governing party, he held significant political influence. Zondo recommended that the matter be referred to the NPA and other law enforcement agencies to determine whether the benefit constituted gratification under corruption laws and whether any criminal prosecution should follow. Mantashe tried and failed to have the Zondo Commission recommendations set aside. So what is stopping the NPA from acting? Mantashe is still not just a senior ANC figure. He holds the important position of Minister of Mineral and Petroleum Resources as well. If Mantashe is indeed venal or corruptible, this represents a major risk because the ministry regulates industries worth hundreds of billions of rand. The second individual is the ANC's first Deputy Secretary General Nomvula Mokonyane. She is alleged to have received extensive benefits from Bosasa while she served as the Deputy President of the ANC's Women's League and Premier of Gauteng. If she is indeed corrupt, there is a risk she could sway the party to deploy individuals to positions that will benefit her personal interests. So again, why is the NPA moving at a snail's pace? It is not a secret that state capture caused enormous economic and social damage. Almost all of us felt and continue to feel its effect. Investigations into corruption at state-owned enterprises like Transnet, Eskom and South African Airways revealed billions of rands lost through irregular contracts and looting. South Africans connect these losses to current problems such as load shedding, failing infrastructure and limited public services. And because the consequences are still being felt, the public expects visible accountability. The Commission created strong expectations that prosecutions would follow quickly. It had years of testimony, exposed detailed corruption networks, and recommended that numerous individuals be investigated and prosecuted. When no high-profile convictions followed for several years, many people began to question whether the findings would lead to real consequences. Add to all that the long-standing perception in South Africa that powerful political figures rarely face criminal accountability. When cases appear to move slowly or stall, it reinforces public suspicion that political connections may be protecting some individuals from prosecution. President Ramaphosa perpetuates this perception by sitting in his cabinet with many individuals of questionable character and integrity. Mantashe is one of those. Why is Ramaphosa keeping him? The only viable answer is that the president is beholden to him. He is the political mastermind behind his power in the ANC, and that makes him untouchable. Then there's Senzo Mchunu. There is incontrovertible evidence before the Madlanga Commission and the Parliamentary Ad hoc Committee that Mchunu had questionable motives when he ordered the disbandment of the political killing stars team. It does not matter whether his intentions were criminal or just misguided. He acted improperly, but Ramaphosa seems unable or unwilling to let him go. So yes, Vincent Smith's conviction is a milestone. It proves that accountability is possible, even if it arrives years late. But justice delayed should not become justice denied. One conviction cannot close the chapter on state capture. It should only be the beginning. Because the real test of South Africa's democracy is not whether one politician goes to jail. The real test is whether everyone implicated in corruption, no matter how powerful, eventually faces the same fate. Until that happens, the promise of accountability made to the South African people remains unfinished. What do you think? Please share your views in the comments section. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share and like it. More importantly though, please support our channel by hitting the subscribe button. This was another episode of Joe Talks Politics, because no one in power should ever be beyond scrutiny. From me, Joseph Musia, see you in the next one.